Thank you, Lauren. You are an awesome MC. Lauren's MC'd. I've MC'd some events at Faire with Lauren. She's always amazing. Can folks hear me? Everybody hear me? Thumbs up in the back. Like Lauren mentioned, I'm Jeff Kolovson. I am the COO and one of the co-founders here at Faire, and I live here in San Francisco. Can I get a raise of hands? Who is in San Francisco proper? Okay, lots of hands. Anyone Noe Valley? I live in Noe Valley. Any Noe Valleys? All right, nice. Find me after. I'm curious what you do in Noe Valley. Thank you all for coming again. We've got an exciting panel, leaders from the US Small Business Association and the SF Chamber of Commerce, and then we have Mayor Lurie, the San Francisco mayor, coming to close us out, which I'm very excited about as well. And when we started Faire, we did so with the goal and the vision of bringing technology to independent retail, to really leveling the playing field between local and small businesses and the big folks. And one of the things I think we've learned along the way is technology can be a big part of that, but it can't do it alone. You need a thriving ecosystem, you need a network, you need policies that work, you need partnerships, and that's why I'm so excited for the folks that we're about to bring on stage. They are passionate about this, they're knowledgeable about it, they are amazing resources, and they can speak to all of the different ways that you can leverage those tools to help you be successful. So, without further ado, I will welcome Cami and Chris on stage. Come on up, folks. Hi, good to see you again. Good to see you, Chris. So, I am gonna let Cami and Chris introduce themselves. They will do a better job than I can. But before, we have a little bit of a ritual here at Faire when we do kind of fireside chats or interviews where we start with a little rapid fire to get folks loose. So I'll ask a couple very, low stress, easy questions, and we'll go back and forth to get the answers. Okay. It may be controversial depending on audience preference. So dogs or cats? We'll start with you, Cami.
Dogs. Sorry.
I didn't grow up with any pets, so if I don't have a favorite. My wife is a dog person, though.
Okay, so the family, the household is dog people.
The household is dog.
Dogs or cats, audience, can we hear? Oh, whoa, okay. maybe just as many dogs and cats, but maybe more enthusiastic cats preference. Night owl, I'm dog, by the way. Night owl, morning person.
I'm a morning person. I get up every morning and I go out and I run. I'm an ultra marathon runner, so
wow.
That's my coffee, is to go out for a run in the morning. I live in Napa Valley, so I can't go wrong running around that.
I would say I am definitely a morning person. I did morning radio for 25 years, so I'm used to getting up super early. And but then I'm also a night person, so I'm just not a middle of the day person.
That is kind of the lull of the day.
Yeah.
What was your morning radio? I actually didn't know that.
I worked at an oldie station called KFRC for 13 years. Did the morning show. Thank you. Before I've had a lot of different careers.
Yeah.
It's not that I can't keep a job. It's more like I just transitions.
Okay. We are not going to focus on that for the remainder of the panel, but find Cami afterwards if you're interested. I am by nature a night person. Actually, I have a 3-month-old right now. I am in the middle of transitioning to what feels like several decades of being a morning person from here on out. Favorite food? We'll go Chris.
Sure. Lasagna is my favorite food.
Lasagna?
Yep.
I like all food. Unfortunately, there's not really any food I don't like.
Okay, just everything.
Yeah, everything.
Maybe on that, do you have a favorite local restaurant?
Gosh, I like so many things. I live in the Outer Sunset, or SOTA, south of Terraville. So we have a lot of great places there. I really like it used to be the Parkside Tavern, now it's O'Brien's. There's some great restaurants in West Portal or WePo. And I don't know, there's just so many options in San Francisco.
Yeah, there's awesome food everywhere. Chris?
I wouldn't say, I used to have a favorite. So my wife and I, when we would come into San Francisco to do weekend runs, there was a place called Cliff House.
Remember
Cliff House that closed down?
It's supposed to be coming back eventually.
Out on Ocean Beach?
Right. So that was our treat. After we completed the run that we did for the day, whatever race we were doing, we would always go sit there and have breakfast together.
You can go to Seal Rock Cafe now. It's
I'll take
pretty
you up on
close.
All right, there we go. Restaurant recommendations also will come afterwards. All right, last one. Are you watching any good TV shows or movies or books that you're reading right now?
I just finished The Residence, which was a fantastic show. That was great. And then I'm reading a book that I can't remember the name of right now.
Chris?
No shows for me right now. I got a lot going on at work that requires me to work all 4 time zones. And then I'm also studying to get an economic development finance professional certification. So any free time outside of running, I'm studying. But this job is, right now, as many of you understand, it's keeping me very busy.
Yeah.
We went from, I had 12 employees, I'm down to 2.
Oh, wow. Well, maybe that's a good transition into some of our content. I'll start, and maybe Chris, with just an introduction on kind of your role, maybe how you got to your role, and an overview of kind of what your focuses are.
Sure. So as a district director, my responsibility is to support the small business community. And when you think about the small business community, what I want you to think about is the entire life cycle of the small business. So you're in ideation. I have an idea of a product or service that I think I can monetize and create a business out of. Then you're a startup, then you get into growth, then you're a mature business, you're sustaining. And then the fun part is when you get to the succession and exit planning. Now you're going to either sell the business on the market, you're going to sell it to a key employee, or you're going to gift it to a family member leaving a legacy. So providing that support, it really means meeting you where you are in that stage and helping you with 1 or 2 things that I think about. There are opportunities that you're interested in pursuing, so you need tools and resources or access to subject matter experts to help you get there. Or there's challenges and barriers that you're facing and you need someone to walk you through how to overcome those challenges and barriers. You ask, how do I get here? Man, this agency has been recruiting me for a couple of years. And I was it's called a regional lending manager for the Small Business Development Center, which is one of the resource partners that we fund. And the administrator of the SBA and I were at an event together down with the Milken Institute down in Southern California, and they heard me speak and give a presentation. And then I won this contest. They had 130 something countries that participated in something called the Power of Ideas. And so I wrote this paper and it ended up winning. And so I got a chance to talk with the administrator, and they were like, we need to get you on this side, get you from the private sector into public service. And I live by a model of service before self, so it was easy for me to accept this position.
Oh, that's awesome. And I think it's really powerful when folks have that private sector experience and move into the public sector and can leverage that to help other folks in the private sector as well. Cami, what about yourself?
Well, mine is much less impressive. I have had a varied career, as we said, but I've been with the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce. My day job is I work for AT&T, and I do external affairs, so I do work with a lot of small businesses in that regard. But I've been with the Chamber of Commerce for about 8 years, and I've been chair of the Chamber just this year. And the Chamber of Commerce has been really moving in a direction to support more small businesses. I think a lot of people think of a Chamber of Commerce as being just big companies like AT&T or Wells Fargo, but in reality, 60% of our members are small business owners.
And I'm really curious here, especially, we have both perspectives from kind of the public center, the government side, the kind of advocacy side. What do you feel like has contributed to the success of small businesses in the Bay Area? So what are the folks that have been successful doing? What are they leveraging? What are the characteristics that you see of those folks? Because that's certainly what we all aspire to be. Maybe Cami, I'll start with you.
Well, I think San Francisco has always been known for its neighborhoods, and each neighborhood's a little bit specific. And I think that a lot of the small businesses that we have in San Francisco reflect sort of the personalities of each neighborhood. And I think that when people come to San Francisco, because we are a tourist destination, they really seek out the small businesses that provide something unique they can't get elsewhere. I do think that, San Francisco, it's a struggle to do anything. So what might be an easy business to open maybe in Concord or maybe in Morgan Hill, it's going to be 10 times harder in San Francisco. So really the toughest and the best really make it here.
Chris, what about?
So I just want to let everyone know this caveat. So I'm not up here texting. I actually I use my cell phone and I put these notes together and these things because there's a lot of great information that I want to make certain that you get a chance to walk away with. So if you don't mind, I just want to share with you some things that I put together. So first and foremost, in San Francisco, it's an innovative ecosystem. San Francisco's proximity to Silicon Valley and its own thriving tech scene have created a dynamic innovation ecosystem. This provides small businesses, especially startups, with access to venture capital and angel investors, incubators and accelerators, a culture of experimentation and entrepreneurship. A broad customer base is here in the San Francisco area. San Francisco's multicultural population and global reputation attract a wide range of customers. This allows small businesses to serve niche markets, test new products or services, cater to both locals and tourists. San Francisco, we have a supportive infrastructure. The city of San Francisco offers various resources that support small businesses. Growth, these include local chambers of commerce. And by the way, I am a former chamber exec. I was the president and CEO of the Santa Clara Chamber.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay then.
And access to technical assistance, like the technical assistance that we provide. So the SBA, we are funded by Congress through taxpayer dollars. So I really want you to walk away with that being one of the key takeaways you take away from me, is that you pay taxes on an annual basis. And what I want you to think about with that is that that is you, that affords you to have your own business consulting firm. So I want you to pause and settle on that. You pay taxes annually, so there is no reason why any small business should ever say, I'm going about this on my own, because we fund SCORE, which are retired executives that are volunteering their time to support you. We have the SBDC, which is Small Business Development Centers. We have the Women Business Centers. We have Veteran Business Outreach Centers, which are for those that have served this country or those that are spouses of those that have served this country. We have Tech Futures Group, which is for early stage and startup tech companies. And then we have what's called Apex Accelerator. Any of you that are ever interested in doing business with the federal government or the local or state government, we have these advisors that have expertise to help you go through the application process to get certified and be able to receive those services.
That's really helpful, thank you. And I love that framing of you have taxpayer dollars that are funding this program, and you should think of this as your own private consulting firm to help you. Cami, maybe a question for you. I think most folks have heard of the Chamber of Commerce. You probably attend some event where the Chamber of Commerce is sponsored or is active, but I'm curious a little more specifically how the Chamber advocates for small businesses, and if there are programs and initiatives and things like that that this group should be aware of that the Chamber is kind of specifically working on.
Yeah, we actually have a small business manager who's here today, Rolando, and he has done amazing work.
There he is in the back.
He does amazing work for small businesses. We just completed or just finished up a Small Business Week, which was a huge success, which was parties and symposiums and pop-up at City Hall, like all kinds of great things. But just aside from Small Business Week, we highlight small businesses in our newsletters, on our websites, but also Rolando leads some amazing merchant walks where he'll select a merchant corridor and then just do a super deep dive into it and talk to all of the merchants. And then I've lived in San Francisco forever, since 1981, and there's shops I've never even heard of because you get kind of in your own rut, but the way Rolando does it, you get to learn about what inspired this person to open a business, why their passion is this business, and how you can contribute and help it. And then, it ends up that I tell everybody, all my friends, and we're all suddenly going to some bookstore in the Mission District we never heard of. So the Chamber does that. And then additionally, we also offer a lot of resources that I'm sure the SBA does. San Francisco is pretty infamous for laborious applications and red tape, and I know that the San Francisco Small Business Office has been doing a lot of work to reduce that, and then the Chamber as an advocacy group can help advocate for those changes as well as support small businesses kind of navigate that process.
Yeah, Cami actually told me before that she lived right in this neighborhood at one point.
Yeah, at one point, yeah.
And what you said resonates a lot with me. I moved to San Francisco in 2009 for the first time, and I've lived in probably 4 or 5 different neighborhoods, and we moved to Noe Valley last year, and even exploring Noe Valley, 24th Street, there's so many small businesses and stores and restaurants and boutiques that I had no idea existed, even though I'd been in the city for 15 years. So I do think that's a real dynamic of San Francisco. And
I would recommend everyone just check out the Chamber website and sign up for our next merchant walk is in Polk Gulch, kind of Tenderloin, Polk Street area, and you'll find a lot of new places and meet a lot of great people.
Chris, you mentioned some of the resources. Anything you wanted to add on initiatives or programs or advocacies from the SBA?
Sure. So when you talk about advocacy, I have 2 bosses. I have a political appointee, which is my regional administrator, and so when it comes to advocacy work and political work and working with politicians, that's who I lean on for that sort of work. The cool thing about something like that is it allows me and my team to be nonpartisan. right? You reached out to the chamber, or you reach out to, about to say you reach out to the chamber. I hope you reach out to the chamber, and then they say, hey, you should talk to Chris over at SBA. But you reach out to SBA, and you're needing help, or you're seeking resources, or you want someone that you can trust to point you in the right direction. We don't care what party you identify with. You're a small business, and our job is to help you thrive and help you succeed. Because helping you thrive and helping you succeed means that the economy and the city and the community that you live in thrives and succeeds as well. And ultimately, I have a pretty huge territory from Santa Cruz up to the Oregon border, and so if I can help all of that thrive, then it rolls up to the government and into DC as well. And so it then trickles back down for services and products that are available to us. But the advocacy work, it's really, like from the chamber, you're looking at laws, rules, and regulations that are going to impact the business community. And so we have folks in DC that are at the Hill. We have folks that are able to go to the Capitol here as well. And we have folks that can work with the local municipalities as well on things that are going to impact the small business community. When you think about resources, again, anything that you would need as far as writing a business plan, access to capital, government contracting, marketing and advertising, anything, HR, workforce development, market analysis, those are some of the things that we have available to support small businesses.
I want to build on something you said about things that impact small businesses. I feel like, I do multiple of these, a panel every year, every couple of years with local leaders, and I feel like I am often saying, hey, the last year has been a roller coaster, and I'm wondering if in the next year or 2 years from now, we're not going to have the segment talking about the roller coaster the last year has been. I think I'm accepting that. Every year there will be something that makes it a bit of a roller coaster ride for us and for all of our customers. But I think this year has been a particular roller coaster, and some of the tariff and broader trade policy I know is top of mind for all the folks here. We hear it from our customers all the time. I'm curious if the SBA thinks at all about how kind of small businesses can maneuver around that or think about just the impact that could have on them.
All right, now I get to pull up one of those notes.
We talked about the T word, we're talking about tariffs.
Yeah, because I have a finance background, but I'm not an expert on tariffs. And so I had to talk to some economists and some folks. And so I did, and I actually did a presentation for Senator Wahab down in Silicon Valley in her district. And this was something that we talked about. So let me tell you what we came up with. So the first thing that we came up with was for small businesses to diversify suppliers, right? So you don't have all your eggs in one basket. You're reducing your dependency on one particular source where you're getting products and materials from. You're building redundancy in your supply chain is a competitive advantage for you. Adjusting pricing strategically. What that means is incremental increases, small, frequent price adjustments if you need to make them, as opposed to one big shock to your customers. Value-based pricing is something that we've, some suggestions that we've made for small business communities. Focus pricing around the unique value of your product. Bundle products to offer perceived value. We talked about optimizing operations. So what does that mean? Lean inventory management, shift to just-in-time inventory, if feasible, to reduce warehousing costs tied to hiring pricing of goods. We talked about process automation, so simple software tools like inventory management, invoicing, customer relationship management can free up staff time and cut labor costs. We also suggested product redesign products to use fewer imported components or choose parts that are tariff exempt. Other suggestions strategically is to reclassify your products. Tariff engineering, sometimes small changes to a product's composition, assembly, or location or classification can move you into a lower duty category, so that'll reduce the tariffs. We talked about negotiate with your suppliers, so cost sharing conversations that you can have around that. That means suppliers might absorb part of the cost to keep your business rather than lose you as a customer altogether. Repricing contracts, so proactively include tariff-related price adjustment clauses in future supplier contracts is what we talked about. Innovative product offering, we talked about enhanced financial planning or strategies. So all that I'm telling you, there's a lot there. It all is easily available. So one of the crazy things that I do whenever I publicly speak, is I give out my personal cell phone number so you can contact me directly. So I'm going to do that at the end of this. Before I get off this stage, I'm going to give you my number. So if anyone wants any of these things that I'm sharing with you, just shoot me a text and then I'll get it out to you. But that's some of the strategies, intentional efforts that we've suggested and we found that can help people that are going to be impacted by tariffs.
Yeah, and that resonates a lot, and I think is a lot of the strategies that we've heard from our small businesses that we're trying to share with our customers so they can navigate. I'd also encourage folks, one of the goals of bringing this group together is to lean on your neighbor, to talk to folks in this room about how they're navigating this environment, to see if you can learn something from that as well. Maybe shifting a bit, Cami, as we kind of look forward, I'm curious, how does the Chamber think about its kind of vision and where San Francisco is going for small businesses, and then maybe selfishly how Faire can also play a role in that?
Yeah, well, I think that San Francisco right now is definitely on the upward trajectory. I feel like, having lived here a very long time, I think the streets look great right now, and I know that the city right now is very much focused on clean, safe streets to create a vibrant situation and its vibrant neighborhoods so that the economy can thrive for small businesses as well as everyone else. I think that the pandemic definitely changed retail forever, but a change was coming anyway with more online shopping. So I think as far as like brick and mortar stores, I think providing some sort of experiential thing that would, make your store more unique, make your business more unique, and give somebody something to really chew on that they'll want to tell their friends about is definitely helpful. I see that kind of increasing. I definitely think that platforms like Faire opens up a whole new world for small business. I know that at one point in time, people were thinking, oh, these online platforms are killing small business, but I think instead we flip it over, and this is actually helping small business kind of open up the whole world to their market.
Yeah, that resonates a lot. And listening to some of the panels earlier, talking about some of the retailers who've been super successful, the experiential element definitely resonates. I think it's something uniquely that independent retail can provide that the big folks just can't, and it certainly can't feel tailored to your neighborhood in a way that all the folks in this room can. What about, I think we've talked about a bunch of kind of resources, some tools, we've touched on regulation. I think there's generally a lot out there. It's fast moving. Maybe starting, Cami, with you, and then I'd love to hear Chris from the SBA's perspective. What are the best ways to just this group to stay informed, stay up to date on everything that's out there?
Well, I think definitely sign up for the Chamber of Commerce newsletter, become a member. They have really good rates for small business owners. And, there's just every day I look at the website and there's something new and interesting and something inspirational or just good advice that's there. We have tremendous resources at the Chamber of Commerce. Also, the San Francisco Office of Small Business has a wealth of resources. I would hit them up for sure. And then, of course, everything that Chris talked about. Those are all good ways to stay informed. And then also, wherever you are located, I would sign up for your local supervisor's newsletter as well, because sometimes there's information in there that could really help you. And also your neighborhood merchant association or CBD, and maybe you can band together, like you said, share resources or do some viral video. Today I watched one that West Portal Elementary School did a video about West Portal, and it's all kindergartners going into every store and dancing to Justin Timberlake's Dance, Dance, Dance. It's amazing.
You saw it today. It came out today.
It just came out today. So I know that Supervisor Myrna Melgar has it posted, I think, and a lot of people have posted it. But it's just a way to highlight all of the small businesses in your neighborhood, and it inspires people to come spend their time and money there.
Yeah, and Chris, I guess maybe besides just texting you or calling you, what is a good way to stay up to date?
Yeah, so definitely there's a number of similar things. You can go to sba.gov. You can go to our website, the San Francisco District Office website. That's really going to be a great place for you to stay relevant as far as the advocacy piece with the sba.gov. But the San Francisco, we have about 60,000 in our database that we send monthly newsletters out, upcoming events that we're hosting. Definitely any of the resource partners that I talked to you about as well. SCORE, SBDC, the Women Business Center, VBOC, they all have just endless training that you can participate in, and there's no cost to you for any of those. When I was a chamber exec, that was one of my things, is that I wanted to find ways that outside of the cost of being a member of my chamber, that you could get added value. And that added value was partnering with these resource partners because, again, your taxpayer dollars have already paid for you to have access to it. And so, getting the visibility and the exposure coupled with these resource partners, these technical assistance providers with the chamber and the chamber industry was really, really good. There's one that we haven't talked about yet that I think you should sign up for. So there's something called, out of the governor's office, it's called the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. So Office of Small Business Advocate. Director Gray is amazing, and there's a lot of things that they have, a lot of resources that are available, and that's from the state level. They have grant opportunities there if you're looking for grant opportunities. And then I just say, just be relevant in the sense of intentionally connecting with others, other small businesses, and being able to find out, because they may be going through and dealing with some of the same challenges or pursuing some of the same opportunities, and it just gives you a different perspective on what you're pursuing or what you're dealing with.
Yeah, and I'm always blown away by the amount of resources and the depth of them in places like the Chamber and SBA. You mentioned SCORE. I've had the chance to talk with some folks from there, and it really is just like these incredibly seasoned folks giving their time back to mentor and help kind of up and coming businesses, and I really encourage folks to look at all those resources. We've got about 5 minutes to do a couple last questions here. Again, maybe a little bit more forward looking. I'd love to maybe start with you, Cami. Are there any trends or things that you're seeing that the folks in this room should be planning for or thinking about?
Well, I think Chris talked about the roller coaster of the tariff situation. I mean, that's, definitely causing some sort of
You want to tell us what's going to happen with tariffs?
Exactly, who knows? But so there's that. I do think experiential retail is a really big deal, and I do think that taking advantage of social media is really, really helpful. So I see all of those trends happening. I mean, I'm an old person, so I'm still on Facebook. But I'm finding things in my feed that are tailored to me, and I feel like, I don't know, I think it's very inexpensive to advertise on Facebook, but I feel like those opportunities are there, and it's kind of changed the landscape to kind of play with the big boys, sort of. I will say, San Francisco is always changing, and I think it's important for all businesses to be able to adapt to whatever change comes your way. So just being able to be nimble, to prepare yourself for anything that's developing is really key, and being able to partner with other businesses and really share the burden, because there's strength in numbers.
Yeah, awesome.
And so here's what our economist said. So number one is e-commerce expansion. E-commerce continues to be a significant growth area. Online sales now represent about 20% of all retail transactions globally, with projections including an increase to 22.6% by 2027. Number two, digital marketing. A professional online presence is more critical than ever. Approximately 73% of small businesses maintain a website. Number three, integration of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is becoming a valuable tool for small businesses. Around 53% have adopted AI-powered solutions. Number four, emphasis on cybersecurity. With the increasing resilience on digital platforms, cybersecurity has become a top priority. Number five, enhancing customer experience. Providing a personalized and positive customer experience is essential. So in wrap, they said, here's the economic outlook from the SBA. The SBA's economic bulletin for Q1 2025 indicates that new business formations and proprietors' income remain high. However, challenges such as rising business closures and a slowdown in job creation persist. Manufacturing business applications have decreased from 2023, but are still above pandemic levels.
And one thing I'll say is we see part of our role here at Faire is bringing those digital tools, bringing artificial intelligence to this community, to our customers, and being kind of the avenue that we can leverage that technology to make life easier for you, to increase your sales, to increase how you merchandise for your customers. So that resonates a lot. Last question. What is maybe one piece of advice or one thing you think folks may have overlooked, one thing you'd want folks to walk away with, either if they're just getting started, if they're an established business, maybe your closing remarks if you had for folks, or one thing you'd want them to keep in mind? Maybe I'll go Chris and then have Cami close it out.
Sure. So if you have a pen or piece of paper or your cell phone, take it out.
Oh yeah, it's going to be Chris's number.
So my direct cell phone number is area code 202-355-3411. And I'm a interesting federal official because I'm available to you 7 days a week. Okay, I know most people think that's weird that a government official would be available on a Saturday or a Sunday, but I am. When I took this appointment, I wanted to make myself available. My only ask is on Sundays, I go to church from 10 o'clock to 11:30 to fill my cup up so that I can be here for you when you need me. So if anyone needs me to repeat that number, 202-355-3411. So you have that. The only thing I can add to that is make sure you take advantage of your small business consulting firm and reach out.
Yeah, mine would be similar. I feel like you need to be a joiner. You should join the chamber and take advantage of all those resources. Join your local CBD, join your neighborhood association, and do whatever you can to integrate yourself into the neighborhood and the business community. Like you said, it's all one huge ecosystem. So definitely join them all and take advantage of all the resources that are available to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for taking time out of a busy schedule. I know we really appreciate it. It's just so valuable to have leaders from organizations like yourselves here to talk to folks. And yeah, just a round of applause for Cami and Chris. Thank you. Good to. Sorry. Okay, we've got a few minutes.
Okay.
We can answer some questions. Are there any questions from folks in the audience? Anything that you have for Cami or Chris?
And you couldn't have sit through that whole thing and not have one question. There's just no way. Somebody got
Here
a
you
question.
go. I'll repeat it if you yell it.
So great point on digital marketing and e-commerce, right? I would say we're more of a micro business, a lot of us. So to me, that's my biggest struggle. How do I become better at getting the word out? Because we're so tiny compared to the Amazons or, even the Nordstroms of the world,
Yeah.
right? So if I was to need anything, I think it's a lot of support in that area. So does the SBA have that?
And
We do. So when you're talking about
the question, just
go ahead.
was just around digital commerce, digital advertising, being a small business. How do you kind of get access to compete with bigger folks around it? And if there are resources at the SBA from it.
And so what I was just going to say is those different technical assistance providers have subject matter experts in that particular area to where they can sit down and look at what your go-to-market strategy is right now, make some suggestions and recommendations, get you connected with some organizations that you may need to as well. But it's really just having that conversation with, this is what I'm doing right now, here's my opportunity, here's what I'm looking to do, and what's the strategy to accomplish something like that. But we definitely have both SCORE, the Women Business Center, and SBDC. We have folks that's their expertise is digital marketing. So you got the cell phone number. All you got to do is shoot a text, hey Chris, and I'll make the introduction for you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And I would say if you are located in San Francisco, the San Francisco Office of Small Business also has a lot of resources, and just kind of joining with other folks that are doing the same kind of micro business as you would be really helpful.
And I think it can sometimes seem daunting to advertise online, build a website. One of the other things I would add is just go for it. Like just something is better than nothing, and you start to learn. And I think that is kind of one of the biggest daunting challenges of some of those spaces. But I would just encourage you to kind of go for it. And again, something's better than nothing.
Have a website. It's just getting the word out.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
struggle, right? Yeah, the traffic on the site.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I was just wondering, my name is Craig. Is the chamber advocating against the wildly changing tariffs that are impacting our businesses?
So the chamber does a number of things. Last year we worked really closely with the city on Prop M, that was the gross receipts tax, which actually eliminated taxes for small businesses under $5 million. We continue to watch all of the tax things that are happening both statewide and locally. Rolando actually has a organization that's called Thriving. Rolando, yell it out wherever you are. He has got an advocacy group for small businesses.
Advocating quality together.
Thank you.
Politics.
Advocating policy
Politics.
together. So that's a group that you could join and be a part of that advocacy. And as far as I would say check with the city as well, because they are keeping an eye on all of the crazy changes with the taxes and the tariffs and all that stuff.
Hi, I have a question for the small business man.
Chris.
Completely off the topic. I've been in business a long time. I have survived COVID. The only way I did that was I got a huge loan from the SBA. I started my business with my own money, and in that was the only way I could have survived that time period. So I'm wondering what the horizon is for that, because apparently I signed a document that goes on after I die. So what is the plan? I felt like it was the worst business decision I've ever made, and now I'm curious because
Sure.
I pay it every month. It's not that I'm behind or anything, but it's a bit. It is my biggest worry at night as a business owner.
So there's a
Do I
lot.
want to stop? Like what? You know.
Yeah, so there's a lot there that you and I would need to specifically drill down on. But high level, let's look at this here. There was 2 products that we offered during the pandemic. One was called EIDL, and so but I got to tell you so that we can make sure you and I are having the right conversation, because you said something that I got to make certain I identify. So EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, PPP, Paycheck Protection Program grant, that if the use of proceeds was not correctly used for business operating expenses, it would then convert into a loan. So again, whatever someone's told you, let me just tell you what I know from the agency. So we would have to identify which one you have the EIDL. So it's a 30-year.
The other one's forgiven.
So the EIDL, it's a loan. It's just like a mortgage that you took out on your home. I think it was at 3.25% interest rate. I think we deferred payments for the first 24 months, and then I think there was an interest-only portion. And so now, yeah, you have a 30-year loan that is expected to be paid back. So if you're looking for any forgiveness of that, that's a whole different conversation, a whole different department. More than happy to get you and I on a call, and I'm happy to talk to the Office of Capital Access to see. But as of today, there hasn't been anything rolled out from headquarters that they're going to just forgive those loans and they go away or anything like that. Yeah?
All right, it sounds like we've got the mayor here, which will launch in a sec. But thank you again, Chris Gamey. Thank you for staying a little bit longer and answering some questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Chris, thank you.
All right, my friend.
Yeah, really appreciate it.